This
Yeah.
fixation with the introduction, with the jingle. Okay, let's start. Hello, welcome back. No, let's do that again. If you're not gonna respond, that's really stupid. Just me, just me going hello, and it was awkward. Uh,
Pop culture.
Mm.
Hello, welcome back. This is me, Jos from Belgium, and we have Tanya in the US. Hello.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah, it's afternoon here. It's getting dark, and you have early sunshine, I see.
I do, I do.
How are you? How was your week?
A little bit stressful. Like I didn't really have a weekend because I was working on the support website for Plant Provenance, and then I had a very long board meeting at the IAS. But yeah,
Sounds lovely. A weekend with plants.
yeah, for sure.
I am really excited because you sent me some news 2 days ago about the podcast prop culture.
Mhm.
I know it's going to sound stupid, and it probably is. And we're going to look at this back in 2 years and think that was nothing. But you showed me the stats where our podcast is number 4 in Belgium for garden
Gardening and
topic.
leisure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like how cool is that?
And I know Belgium is really small, and it's most probably just my friends listening at the podcast. And there's just not any gardening podcasts other than ours. But I'm really proud of that.
So am I.
Yeah.
Hello, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So let's get to number 1 in Belgium, and then number 1 in the US, and then the rest of the world.
That's exactly right. Good plan.
Okay. So, what are we going to do this podcast? We have a very interesting interview coming up with Bill Rotalante. You're going
Mhm.
to introduce him later on. But first, we're going to start with some latest Spill the Tea plant news. And we're going to end our show with some rating of weird plants because you loved that last week.
I did. It was so much fun.
Yes. So let's get started with spilling the planty.
Spilling the plenty.
So let's start first off, and we have some news that is fresh off the bat from the Palmstreet app. We talked last week about Palmstreet being a new app giving some new direction in plant collecting, people selling live on the Palmstreet app. You did some research. For now, it's only in the US, as far as I can. But it looks like big or high plant prices are back. We saw very high prices during the Aroid bubble in 2020-21. And by now we thought those prices went down, but looks like new records are being set. We got news from Forbes Australia that a houseplant was sold for $26,000
Jesus.
on the Palm Street app.
What plant was
26,000.
that?
I mean, that just blows my mind. And the craziest thing is, so we're talking about an Anthurium, so that's the plant I know most about.
Mhm.
And it's a variegated plant. So, okay, that makes sense. They're more rare, but the type or the species is Anthurium luxurians. So, to me, that is so much overrated. Like, if you were to self an Anthurium luxurians and you would sow the seeds, I'm guessing there would be chances to get a variegated seed. But they grow so slowly. That's a species that grows really slowly. So maybe that's why the person who bought the plant thought that it might be a good investment into buying a $26,000 plant. They did say that it was the only variegated luxuriance, or that kind of variegation at least, on the market. So I'm guessing that they still see a profit in it by cutting it and selling the cuttings. But I'm not sure in this environment to get the money back on cuttings. Like when you have a cutting that's rooted to be able to sell, we're talking 4, 5, 6 months from now. Will the plant still be worth that money? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. But and then the question is, how did that variegation come about? Because I saw a short from Sean from Only Plants, or maybe it was a video. He was at a show in Singapore, and he was talking to somebody who does a lot of variegated aroids, and they were discussing how this variegation comes about, and it has a lot to do with using, I want to say radioactive, whatever. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember completely, but it's a very man-made process within the tissue culture process that can cause variegation. So I don't know. And do people who spend that much money on plants actually do that to make money back? Like, I can't.
I'm pretty sure they do. From what
uh,
I get it from the article, they bought the plants to breed with. They also bought another variegated, I think, Anthurium or kind of hybrid.
mhm.
And so they think that their chances to get variegated seeds by crossing both will be increased, which is true. But, you know, if you want to set seed on Anthurium luxurians, you're going to be looking at 6 to 8 months gestation period.
Yeah.
And then sowing the seeds another 6 months to get plants to see if they're really variegated or ready for sale. So
Mm.
I don't
What
know.
what
The
we
market in the US must be very different to the market in Europe because it wouldn't work here. You would not be able to make money.
So the other news, plant related, that we saw, actually somebody sent me this, and I was like, "You have got to be kidding me." Mm, Costa. Remember how, like, 3 years ago or so, they were teasing everybody that they were going to come out with the
Y-
Monstera?
For the European listeners, Costa, that's a shop, right?
No, Costa Farms is a like large scale grower, right? They
Ah,
produce for
okay.
big box stores, etc.
Okay.
Um, and they really like to mess with plant prices and people, or people's expectations in the plant market. Anyway, but they did have this thing going on 2, 3 years ago where they said that they were going to flood the market with Monstera Thai Constellation, especially in the US, because they were so expensive back then. We were talking about like middle triple digits.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to grow them at scale, which obviously doesn't work, because we know that you can't really propagate Thai constellations via seed, etc. So they put it into tissue culture. It was super unstable. They missed their first launch, and I think they missed their second launch, if I'm not mistaken. And then they like dropped batches in different places across the US to see if it would sell. And of course, these things would go out of stock so fast. And people were buying them up in bunches and, making a pretty penny on them. They just recently did something similar with a variegated banana plant, the Musa Pink Nono variegated.
Oh, that's
Um,
pretty.
it's a beautiful, like, I'm not too much into the pinks and reds in plants, but this one is like super pretty because
Yeah.
it's so intense. And it's been pretty expensive. I mean, that's always depends on your point of view on what's
Yeah.
expensive or not. The going market rate has been anywhere between 150, $400, something like that. And they dropped a test shipment in Florida for 49.98.
Oh,
I think within half a day, these things were sold out, and they were so proud about that on Instagram. And I'm thinking to myself, all these nurseries that have spent time to like grow them at scale, you know,
but what size are
they're
we
sitting on
talking
stock.
about? They're like big sized or small plants?
They're fairly big. I think we're talking about 50 to 70 centimeter high plants. So they're
Mm-hmm.
not, but bananas grow fast, right?
But just to be clear, because I don't want people to get the wrong image here. Like you're not saying that it's wrong that plant
No.
prices drop, right? It's
Uh,
just their ethics of flooding the market or setting the market price or
like, I don't know if it has to happen this fast, right? It's not something that you can print out of a 3D printer.
Mhm.
And they're exactly behaving like that. And I'm not sure if that's good for the plant market. But then again, I'm not in sales. I wouldn't know. It
Yeah.
just has a really bad taste to me because, if any given nursery where they really still, grow at human scale, if you want, the humanly possible scales, they might be sitting on 1,000 plants and they plan their business with selling those plants.
Mhm.
But who's going to, drop 150 if they can get it for 50?
And definitely there's something to say for, keeping variegated plants, which are a mutation of the normal plants, within the collectors community, because who needs variegated plants when they're not into plant collecting?
Yep.
What's the use in it? Because those plants are defected in a way; they cannot produce chlorophyll at certain parts of their leaves. So I follow you a bit in that sense, that like, why would you make these plants so widely available for people who are not plant collecting, don't have that
Yeah,
specific desire?
let's also not forget that variegated plants are harder to grow, right? And
Hmm.
there's this German saying, I don't know if you guys have this in Belgium, but in Germany they say it's you're throwing pearls in front of the pigs.
Yeah, yeah, that's the same in
Yeah,
Dutch.
I'm
Yeah.
not even sure what the English equivalent
Hmm.
is to that, but it's just such a waste of resources. Right, because we know even among collectors, we sometimes have problems keeping variegated plants alive and happy. Imagine how many people who are not into plants and collecting,
Hmm.
who are
Hmm.
going through these like they're nothing. And the resources that go into producing this many plants, etc., that's like insane.
I mean, I understand both sides of the argument here, but I think it's mainly like your deal with it is mainly because of the style, or the way that they do it in.
Yeah, it's just not very sustainable. It's like fast fashion
Yep.
in the clothing industry,
Yep.
right? Yeah, that's what they remind me of, kind of. Anyway, do we have any more news?
Well, I have some more news. Well, it's not some news. It's just something that I caught in one of the many Facebook groups I'm in. This one was posted in Houseplant Enthusiasts, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was a really nice question that the person asked. And she asked, "What's your plant pet peeve?" Now, for somebody who's not English native, and correct me if I'm wrong, like a pet peeve is something that you find particularly annoying. Like somebody else could not find it annoying, but you find it super annoying. It bothers you specifically a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And
basically.
the person said, like, my plant pet peeve is people having very small monstera growing on huge moss balls. To me, that's not really annoying. Like, that's the way to grow your plant. But she was really annoyed by having a very small plant on a big moss ball. Anyways, I took some of the answers and I'm gonna share them with you, and maybe you can say whether you agree or disagree that it's annoying, or if it's also like a pet peeve for you. The first one, and I can relate to that a lot, is somebody said, when I go to a plant store and the plant tag says foliage
Oh my God.
instead of the plant name.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Like, what are we supposed to do with that?
It's yeah, it's like I don't
Foliage.
know.
Okay. And then, like, generally on the back side of that, it will say half shade, water once a week, feed once a month. That's
Mm.
always the same. It's always the same. There's
Yeah,
no.
it's giving consumers a false sense of being in control of something that obviously, I mean, yeah, no, not cool. And it's just lazy on the part of the sellers, right?
Yeah.
And again, goes into fast fashion.
Yeah. The next one I found was people putting plants in planters without drainage holes.
I think that depends, honestly. Like I have a couple of plants that are in no drainage just because they do better.
Really? To
They
me, when
are
like you have these decorative planters, you have people that put the soil directly in there and then the plant in there. Like
no,
that,
that I
that
don't
rubs
do.
me the wrong way.
No, that I don't do. I only have used glass vessels for no drainage, just so I can see what's going on. And, rinsing that type of setup can be a pain in the ass, but yeah, I
Okay.
get it.
So not another pet peeve for you.
Not at all. No.
Um, the third one, people putting plants out for a day in the sun, and we're talking
That's
about
stupid.
indoor plants.
That is so stupid. And I can say that because I have done that.
Me too.
I had this most gorgeous. Remember in one of the episodes I mentioned that I had like 120 album monsteras
Yeah.
going, propagations? So this pot was a huge lechuza pot, right? It had a big pole and there was like six beautiful, healthy, really my most beautiful propagations. And they grew like, I don't know, each plant had like at least 8, 9 leaves. So it was a really full pot. And the thing got thrips. And I figured if I just give it a day of sunlight, the thrips will fuck off. They did, but so did the plant. Everything got burnt
Exactly the same.
so
Like I
fast.
usually go and treat the plant. Like if I have any bugs, I treat them and then I leave them outside for a day. Just like no,
Yeah,
I don't want the chemicals inside my house. And then
yeah.
when it's a really sunny day, you're like, okay, that was not a good idea.
It was so
The
dumb. I
plant is dead.
completely ruined that plant, and I'm
Yeah.
still angry at myself to this day.
So yeah, it's a pet peeve. Next up, I think this might be controversial. Some people like it a lot, others don't. Was a person who said people who grow pothos plants on their wall, like indoor,
Mm-hmm.
and using these pins to keep the plant growing on their walls.
I can't really answer that because I think my son listens to our podcast.
You can be honest.
You do you.
You do you. Okay. Uh, I thought about it. To me, it's like on one hand it can look really cool, but the other hand is like you're gonna damage your walls and like the roots will grow in there. Yeah. T-
They do.
yeah, I'm not a big fan. Okay, next up, a pet peeve of somebody who said tips from influencers like adding ice cubes to your plants, banana peels, coffee water. How do we feel about that?
I never trusted the ice cubes, and I learned pretty fast that that is absolutely stupid. You end up killing your plant. The other things I have tried, I also made banana tea, where I like steep my bananas in water.
Mm.
But that was fun. That was when I got into collecting and when I got into figuring out how to be a plant parent. To this day, I sometimes still will put coffee grounds into my soil bin just to give it some life, right? Because the fungus needs to feed off of something. And if I have that sterile bin sitting, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah,
Yeah, it's not a pet. It's not a pet peeve for you. You fall
it's
for it.
experimenting. I didn't fall for it. Come on. It's
Next
not
up,
compost, that's for sure.
people.
And I think that that's the thing, right? It needs to be composted before it's actually
Yeah,
beneficial. Yeah,
yeah.
I know, I know.
Yeah. And next up, a pet peeve. People who say light will bring back variegation in plants.
I honestly don't know the scientific weight of that, but I will say that I've had plants who came back with higher variegation when I kept them darker.
Well, there's no science to it.
I don't
That's
think
not
there
true.
is any.
That's not true because there are plants that are inherently variegated, like the Jose Bueno, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
um, that can thrive in different light conditions. I'm not going to say more light will bring it back. But in other plants, when it's like sectorial variegation, that's just, I'm not going to go too technical, but at the top it grows from a callus point. And
Mm-hmm.
when there are variegated cells in there, the next leaf will be variegated. It's as simple as that. So if the callus doesn't have any variegated points anymore, the next leaf will be green. That's how it works.
I mean, if the material isn't there, it's not there, right?
Exactly.
I think the only thing that you can derive from that is because the plant already has limited production of chlorophyll or capabilities of photosynthesizing. I do think that if you give it a healthy amount, not necessarily low or high, but a healthy amount of light, that the plant itself will just thrive overall.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Lastly, pet peeve. Spray painted plants or
Oh
dipped
shit.
in velvet.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Definitely a pet peeve.
Oh. Oh. If I
It's like
come
it's like
into if I step into a room and there's painted plants, like I get shivered. Ugh. Same with fake plants, but painted. I think painted. Are painted plants worse than fake plants? I have a really big pet peeve for fake plants. I get really angry at people. I'm like, if you can't keep a plant, then don't put something that looks like a plant. Put a statue, put an ornament, but not a fake plant. I don't get that. Oh my god, it rubs me the wrong way. Why would you do that? You like plants, then keep a plant, not a plastic plant. Sorry. That's
plastic plants are like strap-ons, just saying. Anyway,
what?
um
No. Hold on. We're not gonna shame strap-ons here. We're an inclusive podcast. Like you said, you do you,
yeah, yeah.
but don't do plastic plants.
Okay, okay.
Don't do plastic
No, but I
plants.
find plastic no, not plastic, painted plants. I find it just as bad as those poodles that come out of the groomers, who have like rainbow fur or look like a
Oh,
giraffe or a
oh
zebra.
yeah.
That's same
Oh,
thing. Don't do it. Don't do it.
oh.
Like that plant did not consent to being
No.
painted.
You have these Sansevieria who get like a kind of gutted drawing inside of it, like a graft or
Ugh,
something.
no.
Okay, so I think we found our biggest pet peeve here.
Yes.
It's fake plants. I mean, for sure. We're a plant podcast.
Yeah.
What did you expect? Okay, next up, we have an interview.
Yay, I'm happy to welcome him.
He's your friend, right?
He's my boss,
Eh,
kind of.
okay, same
No, but I
difference.
love him very much. I love him very much. I'm very inspirational. As we
Love-
said, we're having an interview with William Rotolante. I was going to ask you, how do you pronounce your last name?
Rotolante.
Rotolante. Okay, I love that.
It,
Where's that
it
from?
means it means rolling along in Italian.
Aw, like that. So you have Italian ancestors?
Yes, my great grandfather immigrated from Italy to Denver, Colorado during the gold rush.
Okay. Yeah, but before we get into personal details like that, actually, I mean, obviously, Bill, you and I have known each other for almost a year now because we've, been working together on the IAS. But people who don't know your name, I can't imagine anybody doesn't. And if they don't know your name, then they know Silver Chrome Gardens. Um, what should people know about you, especially plant people?
Well, I am the president of the International Aroid Society. I am the president of Silver Chrome Gardens. Silver Chrome Gardens is a small family-owned nursery in the Homestead region of Florida. We have approximately 10 acres we own. So a little bit less because there's a convenience store on the corner of our property. Um, so it's like 9.175 acres or something. We have about 7 acres in use at the moment. So we have 3 acres to expand on in the future. I've been doing this, working at my father's nursery since 1998. And as the owner of Silver Chrome Gardens, I became the full-time owner in 2017. But I have truthfully been running the place since right around 2010 or so.
Okay. What do you guys do?
I'm a wholesale, what's known as a wholesale nursery. So when we sell to big wholesalers, garden centers, florist shops, botanical gardens, landscapers who buy in quantity, since our prices are based on quantity and not single plants.
Okay.
Now, during the COVID era, we did start doing some more of the ultra rare stuff because that's what was selling at the time. But with the market going the way it is right now, we started transitioning back to the old bread and butter quantity stuff.
That's actually
Uh,
two of the questions we wanted to ask you. Like you've lived through that, what we now call the Aroid bubble, and you already explained a bit how you experienced that. But are there other things that you remember from that time? How you experienced that time where people went crazy for plants at home, and also how do you see like the short and long term evolvements in the plant community? So you already talked a bit about that, but maybe you can expand on it.
so since I've been doing this a very long time, there has always been ebbs and flows in the plant industry. There'll be a super high and then it'll go back down to regular levels. And then a super high and then they'll go back down to regular levels. And it's just the way the industry works. There's always something that spurs a massive growth and then it drops back down again. Economy too, it's plays a tricky situation with it because plants are a luxury item.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
what people
buying
buy with their disposable income, right?
disposable income. It's like you have a 50-inch TV, you want the 65-inch television. Do you really need the 65-inch television? No, you don't really need the 65-inch television, but you want it. And plants are like that. When the economy is down, people will keep what they have and they won't upgrade.
Yeah. And
Right.
what kind of cycles are we talking about? Like 5, 10, 20 years?
It's about every 15 years or so you see a uptick. Now, COVID was a strange one because it went higher than it's ever been before because people were using plants not only as something to look at and enjoy, but as investments.
Yeah.
They were investing in their plants and investing in something that they could sell and make profit on because, buying plants at that time was better than buying stocks. You could make way more money. You can make 50%, 75%, 100% your investment back in the plant within the first year, where you're buying stocks and you're not making that much money.
Hmm.
You're investing in other stuff and you're not making that much money. Because of that strange happenstance of people stuck inside their house, looking at influencers all day long, influencing them to buy plants and seeing crazy prices and thinking, "Oh, I could grow this and make money on it." Overnight, you had people quitting their jobs and basically becoming plant sellers. People leveraging their credit to buy plants so they could become plant sellers. And people who are undercapitalized eventually will fall off.
Especially if you
Is
don't
the
have
people?
the passion for it, because that's an important driver to keep you going. If you're like, I can make
Yeah,
money, but you don't have a real passion for plants, then it's not gonna be sustainable for sure.
yeah. It won't be sustainable at all if you don't have a love for what you're doing. Any business.
Mhm.
It's not just plants.
Very true. What do you think we're looking at in the next 5 years? I mean, if you're somebody who's growing at scale, I suppose that you keep a close eye on the market. Like, do you have an insider tip for us? Like, what should we focus on in our collections as plant lovers?
I'm always of the opinion, and we've always grown this way, that you buy what you like. And sometimes you'll hit and sometimes you'll miss. But those times you hit, you can make a good profit on it. Because generally, if you like something and it's easy to grow, other people will like it and find that it's easy to grow as well. If you're buying something that's beautiful, that is difficult to grow, people will buy it and then kill it and then tell all their friends they killed it and they won't buy it. You want to look for something that's not only beautiful but easier to grow because there's not too many people that have the ability to grow the really, really difficult plants.
Yeah, guilty.
Um,
You're funny, yes. You had
But
a big old greenhouse talking about.
yeah, I do have a preference for the Anthuriums that are easy to grow.
Yeah, of course.
And I totally agree with Bill, like being, for me, it's always doing what I find beautiful and I like. And sometimes that's going against the grain, like in my area, that would be not collecting the dark velvets because that's what everybody wants now, or Carla Blacchia, everybody wants that. And I don't like them. So I go for other kind of shapes, and then I see that it may not be that popular, but I hope that in the end, when somebody sees what I see, that it will pay off, between brackets. Another question: are there any things you dislike about working with plants?
hmm, that's a good question. I've never thought of that. I just like the drama.
Of plants or of people who like plants?
The people who like plants, that they love the drama,
Yeah.
and they breed drama and they breathe drama and they make everything dramatic.
It's like a real life
I
soap
like
opera.
I like the people that are easy to get along with and happy. Environmental situations like floods, hurricanes, stuff like that is, you can't do much about it. You just have to pick up from the ashes. or the plants being blown over or the office being flooded and keep going.
I remember you had a situation last year, I believe it was, with a hurricane that like toppled over some of your benches.
Oh yeah, that happens. We get hurricanes that blow over the benches, blow over the greenhouses. We get floods that fill up the office with a foot of water.
Is that
And
going to be
that's
salt
why,
water?
no, it's fresh water, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
still water. And then I have to dry out the walls. And that's why our walls are made of pressure treated wood instead of like drywall, because, all it takes is this like a tropical storm to sit over us for a day and our office gets flooded. Once we had fish swimming through the office
Oh my goodness.
because in the closest canal is about, I'd say, a mile and a half away. So that's how far they had to swim to get to us.
Can we have a minute of appreciation, you plant collectors out there who love the tropical plants? Can we have a minute of appreciation for the shit that these growers have to put up with to bring us the tropical vibe into our homes and we don't have to deal with those things? Like, thank you.
It's a full-time 24 hours a day, 365 days a year job. I mean, I know my dad always told me plants don't take holidays or vacations.
Kind of explains the term plant parenting.
Yeah, it's really easy to get somebody to take care of your dogs when you go out of town, or your cats. It's not so easy to get somebody to take care of your plants.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. As someone who travels weeks at a time, I feel that pain.
Bill, in the Netherlands, they have robots to do that.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, our labor is cheap enough that we have people that do that. We haven't moved to robotics yet. I assume now that those companies in the US are going to have the housekeeper robots, that they'll also start watering your plants for you while you're on vacation.
Yes.
I think there's a company in California that's making a housekeeper robot, and there's one. I think Elon is also making a housekeeper robot or something. So
Oh no, please.
Yeah, I saw
It's
it.
creepy. I don't want an Elon
it's
robot.
like $30,000 robot to take care of everything. All I think in my mind is the Will Smith movie where they all go rogue and try to kill everyone.
And it looks exactly the same like that robot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, that's because they look like us. Kind of.
yeah. Except for faceless and
Yeah. Yes. Do you have another question for
I
Bill?
do, but I thought you were going to ask him. No, what's a plant genus or species you think is underrated, and which do you think are overrated?
Adelanema.
Underrated or overrated?
Underrated. The beauty of the leaves, the velvetiness of the leaves. There's a gorgeous aroid, mostly from Colombia. There's a bunch of different varieties. I think that they're spectacular, easy to grow, don't have too many problems.
We do have some in Europe, but they look kind of to me like a cross between Dieffenbachia and Alocasia. Like, I mean, not really a cross, but like in features. Yeah, I do like.
I have some that are really nice. If you ever come to my nursery, I'll show you.
Okay.
Talking about your nursery, why Silver Crown Gardens? Like, where did that name come from?
It's actually our address.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I
we're
thought
on the
there was
corner
some
of
break down.
Yeah.
we're on the corner of Silver Palm Road and Chrome Avenue. So
Oh,
Chrome is not spelled like the word Chrome.
yeah.
Chrome is actually the last name of the person who was named after. So it's spelled Krome instead. And then so they named the road after that. And then the other road is Silver Palm. So my dad said, "Oh, I'll just call it Silver Chrome Gardens because it's on the corner of Silver Palm and Chrome Avenue."
It's a great name. It's a great
Yeah.
name. And how many people can say they're known by their acronym, SKG, right? But
So
yeah,
we actually used to own SKG as a website. You
really?
just type in skg.com and you get to our website. Because my uncle was one of the original proponents of the internet. So as soon as websites started coming available, he made us buy skg.com. So we owned it for like 30 years. We ended up selling it to SKG Manufacturing. They ended up selling it to maybe a porn site or something afterwards. So some people were like, "Oh my
that's
gosh,
juicy.
I went to your old website and we found some weird stuff on there, or they make sex toys or something." I don't remember.
And yeah, I think we have the title for our episodes.
Yes, I'm loving
That's
this.
that's the
Okay.
clickbait we need. This
Oh,
line up
I have
like
so many. I've been doing this so long. I have so many good stories. You could have 50 episodes just of me.
it's noted.
Happy
Noted.
to.
Noted. Yeah.
Like in your situation, Bill, and I'm just speaking from my own experience with you. When I joined the IAS and I eventually was elected to the board, like I had palpitations during the first meeting because I was like, I'm sitting in a Google Meet with Bill Rotolante. Like that was a fangirl moment. And ever since, anybody else that I've been in contact with through my work at the IAS, people that I've just been fangirling and I get to interact with them. So I'm wondering from the other side, you being that person on the receiving end of that fangirling, boying, whatever, do you find that a lot of people try to get into your, I'm gonna call it inner professional circle? Like, do you feel like a plant rock star?
Well, I didn't really feel like that for many years at all until I went to Thailand for the first time. And then people were like, wanted to take pictures with me and hand their kids to me to take pictures with. And I was like, why? And then I started talking to some of the people over there, and they're like, oh, well, you know, it goes, the hierarchy of famous people is, movie stars, sports athletes, plant people, politicians, and forth down below. And I'm like, well, that isn't the way it is in the US. Plant people aren't that high.
So what would they do if they met Tom Cruise, for instance? Like,
Oh, they would freak out.
I freaked out the first
Yeah.
time I emailed with him. I was like,
yeah. I had the same with Tube Mornon. He responded my email and I was like,
yeah,
Robinson. Yeah, they're just people.
Growing up in the industry, it's a lot different because I just grew up with all these people and they
yeah.
were
We should
just
note that
like,
your dad was like a very influential figure
Yeah.
of the IAS, right?
yeah,
So he had
yeah.
the people
So
around
like
him.
that's Uncle Tom,
Oh my
that's
god.
Uncle Ron, that's Barry, I just grew up with it like that. I didn't think of them any other way than who they were
Right.
as people. I never really saw them as anything else. That's my dad's friend, that's somebody like that.
I do envy you
I
for
also
that.
grew up in a s- very close-knit plant community down here. Everybody knows everyone and everybody knows what everyone else grows and everyone is pretty close.
I remember somebody telling me, I think in 2022 or 2023, at like almost after the peak of the Monstera obliqua Peru, that the plant was actually traded between growers in Florida many, many years ago. And at most, the nodes were sold for $5 a pop or something, and then all of a sudden, during
Oh
the
yeah, that's
pandemic, it
true.
went nuts. Yeah, I
That's a
was
true
like,
story.
That's crazy, you know? And I remember that discussion or the hashtag, "It's not an obliqua," and
Yeah.
all the discussions people had on Instagram and whatnot. And then to think, the OGs, they were already having fun with this plant long before we even knew it existed.
Same for
Yeah.
a lot of plants, I think. But then, yeah, that reminds me that it's kind of what we are trying to achieve with the things that we are setting up, like creating that kind of plant community in Europe, but across the world. Like you have it very locally now, but we want to extend that a bit and make it in that way more sustainable, not to get back to the prices of 2020, but to get people who really love plants connected. And it's not about making huge amounts of money. It's about loving plants and sharing that love and
Mhm.
interest. So related to growing and collecting plants, if you could choose to live in any time period, future or past, what would you choose?
Probably the 1970s. Governmental regulations were not as tricky back then. You could remove plants from the jungle a little bit easier for botanical usage. And we still had airplanes to be able to travel to different places around the world. You wouldn't have to walk there. And it's before a lot of the deforestation has started in countries that have the tropical rainforests. Before Brazil started getting deforested, before Southeast Asia started deforesting everything and cutting down their mountains to turn into concrete factories. There's many different places around the world that are at this point suffering from massive deforestation. And I believe that the 70s would be a time before that. I know that the Aroid Society used to go on trips around the world as a group, and they would collect stuff, bring it back, trade it between each other. And that was much easier back then. You could bring plants with you with little or no problems across borders. Now, I'm not talking about widespread poaching. They weren't widespread poaching. Taking a few seeds, one tiny little plant is not like, cutting down entire areas and deforesting entire ecosystems of their plants. But it was much easier back then to do a little bit of collecting.
I think people were a lot more patient back then. Like today's generation is a lot about instant gratification. And I think that plays into the whole wild harvesting and overdoing that. Yeah, but that's a good thing to end on. And before we say goodbye to you, Bill, first of all, thank you so much for your time. And now would be your 30 seconds to share with the world whatever it is you would like to plug in here. I don't know, as it relates to Silvercrumb Gardens or the Aroid Society, whatever you like.
I would tell everybody that if they want to help with conservation and research projects, to go to the International Aroid Society's website, which is aroid.org, and donate to conservation and research projects that we are coming up with. And we have a lot of great, we have what, 20, was it 22 or 20?
Mm-hmm.
What did Ron say the other day? Different projects that people have
22, I
given
believe. Yeah.
us. And there's so many on there that are worthwhile projects that need to get done. And we just don't have the ability to fund them all. Now, some of them will be funded with your donations. But the more you give, the more of those projects we can fund.
Right.
All across the world, we've already given out grants to South America, Southeast Asia. But there are some projects in the United States. There's some projects, and I believe there was one in Europe. And there's many different worthwhile places, and it could be in your area that need money for those projects. And the more we can fund, the more we can let governments around the world know that these species exist and they're living in this area, and you can't just cut it down for oil palm plantations. You can't just bulldoze it and turn it into cow pastures. These things, these areas have value beyond just jungle. And without letting these governments know that is there, there is no way to try to get them to stop what they're doing. I know in Panama, they were allowing people to just plow land and turn it in to a cow pasture, and they would give them like 2 free cows for clearing government land for them and
That's
allowing them
insane.
to start growing cows on the property. And that is not something that we want happening to an area of the world with so much biodiversity and so much stuff there that we haven't figured out yet. Orlando Ortiz came and spoke to us a few years ago about it, and he said traveling up the mountain is he's not really worried about poachers because he basically has to trample Carloblackiais and Cunha lint and Dresslerize just to get up the side of the mountain because there's no way around them because there's so many on the sides of the mountains.
Mhm.
He's more worried about the government allowing these farmers to just plow over jungle and turn it into different types
Agricultural.
of farms,
Yeah.
agricultural farms, but whether it be oil plantations, sugar cane, and stuff like that. So the more you can donate to us, the more we can fund these projects. And the more we fund the projects, the more we can try to stop this. And if you get anything from what I've said today, try to donate. And if you can't donate, donate with your time because we could use volunteers for many different projects we have going. Not just your money, your time is worthwhile to us as well.
Your time and your enthusiasm. I think that is something that is very that we as members of the board really value is people's enthusiasm and genuinely caring for the work that we do as a society.
I volunteered yesterday, so
We saw. You
Awesome.
saw.
We saw.
We'll get back to you on that. All right, guys. Bill, thank you
And you
so
can
so.
bring me back on anytime.
I'm sure we will. As soon as you've got that stuff sorted out that you had happen last night and
yeah.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, we had a little fire in the nursery last night. We're trying to clean up for that. Stuff happens when you're not looking for it to happen.
yeah, exactly. But nobody got hurt, right?
No one was hurt.
That's
And we can
that's
fix
important.
whatever damage there is.
Yeah.
Everything is fixable. Human life is not fixable.
Plus, you never know. Maybe some affected plants will start throwing out more seeds now or whatever, because they do have these things happen in the wild and they survive.
Yeah. Yeah. Plants are the great survivors, and they've always been.
Yeah.
You have a good day.
You
I'll
too.
talk to you again soon.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Weird plans, weird plans. Everybody loves weird plans.
Okay,
Doobie-doo.
Tanya, we're back with Rate That Weird Plants. You enjoyed it
Yes.
last week.
I did.
Remember, you gave pretty high scores for the weird plants.
Maybe I was too generous.
I think so. You have no idea what's coming up.
Oh,
So I
shit.
have 3 more to rate today.
Ok.
Are you ready for it?
I am.
So the first one is a Hoya plant, and it looks like this.
Didn't we talk about strap-ons earlier? What is that?
Okay, I must tell you that it is sun-stressed, so it usually doesn't look that red. Um, but maybe you can try to describe what you're seeing.
It looks like a shish kebab for like, I don't know, beef hearts or something. I don't know. It's oof. I wouldn't even like if you hadn't told me that it's a Hoya, I don't know if I would
Yeah.
recognize it as a plant.
Yeah. So it's a Hoya imbricata. Usually, like I told you, it's a lot more green. But
I have one. It does not look anything like this.
yeah, that's why I wanted to show you. It looks. I saw it and I was repulsed by it. It looks like
That's nasty. Ew.
unprocessed meat or something.
Or like a tongue or something, like a shish kebab made of tongues.
You don't want that in your house.
And those veins.
Yeah.
Ew.
Looks like it could transfer diseases or something. Ugh.
Okay. You want a
Ugh.
rating?
Yes. How are you gonna rate this one?
Given how I rated the plants last week, can we just scratch last week? We're starting fresh. If we're
Sure.
going to use this one as a baseline, I'm going to give it a 6.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna rate it higher. Okay, but maybe
I
it's
need
less
room.
weird and it's gross. So maybe that's why you give the 6.
Maybe they spray painted it.
I saw some sun-stressed plants that looked similar. So
That's a lot of sun stress. That
Yeah.
poor plant.
okay, so 6. the next one we have is called Ceropegia bosseri, and it looks like this.
Is that like trying to be a rock or something, or made of rock, or
Yeah.
that's not even pretty. Like
You don't like it? I
I
kind of
would
like
not
it.
know how to style that, where to put it in my collection. I don't know that I would want that.
Have you? I'm gonna ask. Have you ever seen Pokemon?
Yes.
Like, I wasn't a big fan, but I do remember this. Was it called Onyx or something like that?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It looks exactly like that.
That looks so weird. But I think it's also the pot and the way it's
Yeah.
presented, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
obviously they're trying to get a vibe here. It's not vibing with me. I wouldn't even describe it as weird.
No?
It's ugly. So on the scale, I'd probably give it a 3.
Okay. To me, it looked weird because, like, it doesn't look plant material. It looks rock or plastic
Yeah.
or
Or wood?
yeah, yeah. The wood is not weird for a
I don't
plant.
know.
Okay, 3. Okay, you're not very impressed today. So the last one I have is called Decaria madagascariensis. So a lot of weird plants come from Madagascar.
That is very true. I love that. That is so it's like
Pretty, right?
pixel phoenix from the ashes on a strobe light. Like it gives a lot of weird things.
In
Um
like in a contemporary designer interior, it would look awesome,
Even in
right?
a minimalist
Yeah.
design kind of like it's very geometrical
Mm-hmm.
yet organic. I could even see people hanging Christmas baubles from this thing just for the kicks of it.
No
Like
Christmas.
that would, but like square Christmas baubles, then they're not baubles and they're squirbles or something. But no, I like that. I like that. And it is very weird in a very good way. And as a plant mom, I can see there's enough green for it to actually photosynthesize. Yeah, that's a good weird plant. I would give it a solid 6.
Okay. 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 I'll try to top that next week. Okay. So I think that's it for today. We had a really good interview with Bill.
If you guys have any questions for him, like he said, he will be back. He really enjoyed this, I got the impression. So if you have any questions, please do send them to propculture@horticult.com, I think is the email address. I will double check, have it in the show notes.
In
Thank
the
you so
mean,
much for listening and coming to our 3rd episode. We hope you liked it, and
we see you
you
next
say
week.
something.
Yeah, I see. So I was going to say something, but then you kept talking. So
Ba, 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 ba,
you
ba, ba.
can finish up. No, I was going to say that.
I'll let you
No,
finish first.
no. Just cut this out. Cut this out. It's not going anywhere.
Okay,
Um,
this is not
I
getting
don't
any better.
I don't even know what I was going to say. I thought it was brilliant. This was a brilliant episode, and we should keep going like this. So,
Yeah.
to anyone still listening, I know we talk a lot, but it's worth the wait. And we see it's getting late here, Tanya. I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah, I know, I
Uh,
know.
okay.
You go.
Yes. See you
All
next
right,
week.
you guys. Love you so much. Come back next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Crop culture.